We are just 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline, and today I've put together a perfect mock trade for the guy that should be the Sixers' #1 target right now.
Perfect.
What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into Philly Take with RB. You know the drill by now. Hit the like button if you enjoy this show. Be sure to subscribe. Ring the bell. Don't miss any of the coverage. We'll be breaking it all down up and through the NBA trade deadline. We're only a couple weeks away. We were live yesterday talking about some potential targets this team could go after and who they should be interested in. And we'll do that several more times before the trade deadline on February 8th. And we'll be live on that day as well. I can't wait to see just how it all unfolds and how things play out. But I'll tell you, man, I'm starting to get a little bit of a weird feeling that this deadline is going to be different. What I mean by that is we're seeing a lot of these big names traded before the deadline, weeks in advance. I'm talking about Anunoby and Siakam, even yesterday, out of thin air. We see Terry Rozier move to the Miami Heat for a protected pick and Kyle Lowry. Things are getting interesting. The Sixers need to move. And to that, I ask the people out there, let me know your thoughts down below. Who's your #1 trade target right now? Who's a realistic trade target? What areas do the Sixers need to improve in over the next couple weeks? Before we get into my thoughts, let me give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. Shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Southern New Hampshire University. It is 2024, and with a new year comes new goals. If one of your goals this year involves going to college, then I have the perfect opportunity for you. SNHU allows you to turn passion for sports into a degree with their online sports management program. You'll get to learn about the business and economics of sports, sports management principles, and how to gather and analyze data. This degree can help you prepare for a career as an athletic director, sports information director, marketing manager, and even other exciting roles in the industry. You'll get to tap into SNHU's network of grads working in sports-related organizations. You'll even get to take advantage of an internship or experiential learning course within the field. SNHU has one of the largest accredited nonprofit online degrees in the country. They are radically affordable, and their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So go down to the description right now of this video, click the link, go to snhu.edu/PhillyTake to request free info about the program and start your new year off on the right path. Upon request, a real person will even hop on a call with you to discuss how the program can benefit you personally. Once again, check it out. Click the link down below, snhu.edu/PhillyTake. All right, man, let's jump into it. So as I said on the video and stream yesterday, I had to tell you, man, it's time for the Sixers to go all in. We just saw Doc Rivers get hired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, Boston is a tank in the East, but they are beatable. And right now, this is probably the Sixers' best opportunity to win. They came into the season with lower expectations, but Nick Nurse has revolutionized the culture here, and you're seeing these guys glue and come together and mesh. And the way they're playing right now, if you add a couple pieces in the margins, I really do believe they can compete against anybody. And as of right now, Malcolm Brogdon is my #1 trade target. And I know people are going to say, well, what about so-and-so and this guy and that guy? Look, there's guys like Lauri Markkanen who would be a dream trade target. But now at this point, based on what we have heard, the news, the rumors, I'm going to get as realistic as possible and think about which guys are actually going to get traded. I'm not saying Markkanen won't. I would love him on this team. We could talk about DeJounte Murray and Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Caruso. We can talk about all these guys, but I'm just looking at what teams are involved in who and who has the most to offer. And when it comes to the Blazers, I really think the Sixers could strike a deal. So Malcolm Brogdon has risen to the top of my list, and shout out to Brett Siegel, who put out a piece the other day. Philly Sixers Galaxy puts it here on Twitter. Here's a quote from that article. He says, Malcolm Brogdon has been made available in trade talks by the Blazers in recent weeks. The Philadelphia 76ers, Magic, Knicks, and Lakers have all talked with the Blazers regarding Brogdon. We heard Daryl Morey talk a few days ago at the gala event, and he said essentially, you know, Boston's the best team in the East. They should be the favorite, but we had a 5-hour meeting talking about the trade deadline. We are going to try to make a move. Now, again, he's not going to push it over the ledge and make a move that doesn't need to be made, like just to make a move. But if there's a guy available, and based on who the Sixers are talking with, there should be, you know, they're going to go out and try to strike a deal. And I think that Malcolm Brogdon fits this team and what they need right now 100%. And I said it here on Twitter, the Sixers should do 100% what it takes to get Malcolm Brogdon on the Sixers. Checks all the boxes for what they need off the bench. And, a lot of people respond to me saying, oh, well, Brogdon would start. Brogdon should start on this team. Maybe, but I actually would probably use him as the sixth man, where he won Sixth Man of the Year last year. He probably should have won that award multiple times in his career, and he is very limited based on his injury history. But if you can bank on him being healthy, and I know it's a big if, look at the last couple years. He's missed a lot of time due to plantar fasciitis. He had an elbow injury. He had an Achilles injury. And yes, he has been unreliable when it comes to injury. However, look at what the Sixers need right now. Patrick Beverley has stepped in big time, but coming into the playoffs, I've been saying this all year, they're going to need a bucket getter off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon, if he does come off the bench for the Sixers, is a bucket getter. He can facilitate. He can run an offense. He has shown that during his time in Indiana, in Milwaukee, in Boston, and now with the Blazers. He can run a unit, and I just feel like the Sixers are going to need more stability and more consistency coming off the bench, because when you get, down to playing these better defenses in a tight playoff series, they're going to lock some of these guys up, right? Marcus Morris, for example, may not be able to have the same success in a playoff series as he is having in the regular season. And you look at Malcolm Brogdon, he's proven it. He actually, put up like 15 points per game in that series against the Sixers last year. And here are his stats on the season right now. 15.6 points per game this year for the Blazers. He has started 20 out of the 34 games he has played in, and he is shooting 42% from three-point range. He's averaging 5.3 assists per game. He's shooting 81% from the line. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that he's slowing down on the defensive end. Again, none of these guys are going to be perfect, right? You're going to have to deal with some things. You have to hope he stays healthy. And, he used to be a pretty good defender, I'd say, way back when. But, yeah, he is slowing down due to his injuries and things like that. And we've seen that with other players as well. Even a guy like James Harden, who doesn't have the same kind of lift on his game, just given that he's getting older and he's getting injured more, etc. And Brogdon is at 31 years old. But right now, I feel like a lot of teams, as Brett Siegel reported, are going to be interested in Brogdon. So you might have to offer a bit more over the top to get him on your squad. Here is Brogdon's contract. He's making $22.5 million this year and next year. So in addition to this year, you're going to have to take on another year of a pretty decent salary. And, I know people are opposed to that, but at the end of the day, like I just said a couple minutes ago, you have to do what it takes to win now. This is a win now move. You have to go in. You can't be all so scarce about, a second round pick in 2027 and, the future flexibility and the cap space plan. No. None of that matters. You have one of the greatest players, one of the greatest talents, I'll say, ever right now in his prime, and he's having one of the most efficient seasons in NBA history. You need to go out there, not play around, and surround him with what he needs. And when I look at the Sixers again, if they were to go get a Malcolm Brogdon, that's not to say that they shouldn't try to get a lockdown defender as well in another trade. That's not to say they shouldn't go and get a pure rebounder and guys like that. I'm just saying, based on who has been made available, Malcolm Brogdon is one of the top targets right now. And I think if he's available and the Sixers are talking to the Blazers about Brogdon, they need to offer a little bit more to make sure the Lakers don't get him, or even the Celtics or Bucks, for example. That would be awful if he went back to the Eastern Conference to one of your main competitors. But I put together a trade, and I want to talk about what I think could get it done for the Blazers. So, in this mock trade, RB throwing the GM hat on, I have Malcolm Brogdon and a second-round pick in 2025 via the Hawks, and it is protected, so it could end up being a 26. But those assets come to the Sixers in exchange for the first-round pick acquired in 2026 in the James Harden trade. And that'll be via OKC, Houston, or LA. KJ Martin, Jaden Springer, and Marcus Morris Sr. What this does for the Blazers, they allow cap space to be freed up with the Marcus Morris contract after the season. And we know they're kind of tied up, especially with the Jeremy Grant contract, which they don't really prefer, and he could get moved, so we'll see what happens there. But Marcus Morris allows them to clear up cap space. You get Jaden Springer, a potential young defensive menace who, if he develops and actually works on his offensive game, could be something similar to how they took a bank on Matisse Thybulle. Then you have KJ Martin in there as a kicker. He's been rumored in potential trades for like second-round picks and things like that. I don't think the Sixers really value him at this point, and he will probably get moved. And then again, they end up getting a first-round pick. I think this is a perfect trade for both sides because the Blazers get a little bit of everything they want. And again, the Sixers get a guy who can come in, who is proven, can run an offense, and can be a bucket getter, whether it's in the starting lineup or off the bench. I know there's a little bit concerned again on the defensive end, so I don't know how Maxey and Brogdon would really hold up next to each other, but I think you could experiment. I think you could stagger him with different lineups, and Brogdon could be that sure offensive mind to come right in and run this team. I think he has done everything he's needed to do. He has proven this season that he is playing well, and the injury from this past offseason is not hindering him. Obviously, again, you have to hope he doesn't get injured come playoff time, but remember, the Clippers wanted him, and he was actually going to get thrown into a deal first before he got moved, and that's when they ended up having to trade Marcus Smart because, things got messed up with his injury. But yeah, I thought the Blazers would end up moving Brogdon even before the season, and I actually am surprised that he's still there, and I would expect him to be moved pretty quickly. Sixers need to get it done, and Daryl Morey needs to not sit on his hands. It is time to go put a championship contender around Joel Embiid. A little bit more is what they need. I don't think they need another star at this point, another $40 million guy. I think they need to add in the margin. So give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. Do you want to see the Sixers go out and trade for a guy like Malcolm Brogdon? Chime in down below. Give me all your thoughts. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.